creating new workbooks. We're going to be looking at how to do some simple saving, typing dates, formatting, some easy formulas. We're going to be looking at how you check your spelling, how you print a worksheet. We're going to be looking at the task menu, the task bar here, and what they do as much as possible. There are some that we would not touch because this is a basic class. We're going to look at editing a workbook and formatting. We're going to look at formatting, number formatting, borders, and generally working with worksheets, inserting, deleting worksheets, printing, page setup. So we're going to be touching a lot of topics briefly because our time is quite limited. So the first thing about this is what you call a worksheet in Excel. And to open a new worksheet, all you need to do is open your Microsoft Excel. And so I'm going to open a new worksheet. Microsoft Excel and worksheet. Where's my Microsoft? I never do it this way. Microsoft Office. And as long as you have Microsoft Office on your laptop, then of course you would have Microsoft Excel. And all you need to do to open a worksheet is just open it. If you need to create a new worksheet, you can either do a Control-N, which is Control New. So there are a lot of commands, shortcuts in Excel. So you can do Control New to open a worksheet as well, as long as you're on a worksheet already. And all you need to do to type a text is just to click anywhere in the cell and type. So today we're going to Tesco for some groceries.
Your screen is static.
Sorry, you can't see my screen?
It's not. I can't
Oh,
see the typing.
okay. Okay, let me go back to. So let me open a new tab here. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So all you need to do to type on an Excel sheet is click anywhere and start typing really. And if you want to, so all these boxes, they're called cells, and you need to move to another cell, you can click enter on your keyboard, or you can just click there. So this is just a basic grocery list. So we're going to Tesco to buy some things. And you can see I'm just pressing enter and I'm moving to this next cell. So it just moves you to the next cell down when you press enter. There is actually a function to change that. If you want to be going to the right, for instance, there's a function to change that, but that is more advanced. So this is my test code list. So let me put some more things. And I'm buying lemon, okay? So this is my basic list in Tesco. What do I want to know how many items I have on this list. So I can start numbering by the side. The good thing with Excel is I don't have to start typing 1, 2, 3 down. I can just simply select these two and go to the corner here. If you see this corner here, oh, sorry, I should say how I select. So the way you select is you click on the cell with your mouse, with your left mouse button down, you go to the next cell you want to select. So that's selecting both of them. And then you can go to the corner here and just drag that down. And then it will just number that for you. So you can drag this down as far down as you want. Another way, if it's a very long spreadsheet, because you don't want to select and start dragging all the way down, what you can do is double click. Once you double click that corner, then it fills it down for you. So as long as you select, and once you get to that corner, if you see that my pointer is changing shape. So when it gets to that corner, once I have that slim cross sign, double click and drag it down. So in Tesco, let me just, I want 2 loaves of bread, 7 bottles of milk, another 2 of this, 4 of this, 9 of this. So I've just put quantity, and I know the price in Tesco. Let's see, bread is £2, 7 pounds, 5 pounds, 8 pounds, and £4. So I know the quantity of bread I want. I know the price of bread. But before I go to Tesco, I want to know how much I'm going to spend. So to just this, you can achieve through a simple calculation. So I know simple math calculation. I know I have to multiply my quantity and my price. So you can just put a simple formula. And to put a simple formula in Excel, you have to always start with an equal to sign. When you put an equal to sign, you're telling Excel that you're putting a formula. And then what I do is equal to, I'll click on quantity here, this cell here. I will multiply, that the star is multiply, and then I click on price. So I'm saying multiply cell C3 by cell D3 and enter. And I have £4. I don't have to do the same for everything. All I need to do is just to drag, either double click this, drag it, or drag it down, and then it will multiply everything. And I want the total of this. So I will go to my tax bar here. I've got an auto sum here. And if you just click on that and enter, you're telling it that you want to sum like a range of numbers, like maybe above that cell or beside that cell. So it just looks for the likely set of numbers you want to sum. So my Tesco trip is going to cost me £131. How do I know it's pounds? I need to put the pound sign here. That is where we get to formatting. So this quantity, I have quantity here on column C. I have price on column D. They look the same. I don't know that this is pounds. It can be dollars. So to show that it's pounds, all I need to do is I can select where you want to change, and click on, there's a dollar, like a money logo here. If you click on the down arrow, I can pick pound here. So I know this is pound. I think what I will do, let me just take you through the tax bar so that we can see what the functions are. Then we can continue with this. The first button we have here is the home button. So once I show you this, I'll start using them for this data here, then you see what they do. So I've got the home button here, and under the home button, you have a couple of options. So we have the cuts, we have the copy, we have paste and format painter. What cut does is you want to copy some figures and put them somewhere else. So you use cut, copy, and paste. So for instance, all this information, I want to move them from here to another place on my spreadsheet. So I can use cuts. So once you click cut, you can see like a bar around, like a border blinking around it. That shows you that you have actually cut that or you've copied it. And then all I need to do is click where I want to put it and paste the item. So it will completely move it from where it was to the new place. I'm gonna undo that. I can escape this. And copy does the same thing. The only thing with copy is it would copy it, it wouldn't completely cut it. So copy, click where I want and paste, and it would paste it where you want it to be. So you have 2 sets of data. I'm just gonna, and this is your undo button. So I'm just using that to clear what I've done. Format Painter. So if you have a format on this data, so I'm just going to demonstrate that. So bread, for instance, I'm going to make, or rather Tesco, I'm going to make it bold because it's the heading. So I've clicked B to make it bold. If I want to make the others bold and I don't want to click on them and click bold, I can use the Format Painter. So what it would do is once you have your cell selected, you click on Format Painter and you can place that where you want the format to be copied to, and that would just change the formatting of that. So for instance, you could have done a lot of formatting. If you color this yellow, for instance, and you color this green, and like this orange, and you want to transfer that to another place on your spreadsheet, and you don't want to start doing that step one by one, you can just use the Format Painter, okay? And then you can see that my format has been copied here. I'll just undo all that. Okay. So that's the Format Painter. And then you have your bold. You can make it something bold. You can change it to italics. You can underline. So that's cheese underlined. We can add border. So let's put this in the border. You have different levels of border that you can use. These are all formatting tools that you can use to make your data look nice and pretty. So this I've put outside border. You can put all borders. You can make this bold, thick box border. So you can play around with different things. And these are fill. So you can fill these cells with any color of your choice. So we'll fill this with this color, and this will change the fonts. So A, with the color under, we change the font. So let's change the font of this to green, for instance, and we have green font. So you can do so many things here. If you want to change the lettering, this is where you do that. So you have, you can use any of this. You can change this to Arial and you change the font. You can change the size of the font. And one other thing you can do is also, open up a dialog box. And the way to do it is there's this little sign here that you can use to open up a dialog box. And if you open it, then you actually see the dialog box. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. So there's a preview button here that you can use to see what your data would look like. So if I select lemon, for instance, if we go to that box, you will see how the fonts will look, what the fonts will look like. So in a more recent version of Excel, I think this version is a bit old, you can actually see the actual text in the box end, so you can see it changing. There are other functions that are here because you pulled out the dialog box. So you can either have you can do a strike through, so it will strike through the data. You can do superscripts, you can do subscripts. So you can do a lot of other things here. You can apply formatting. So for instance, like what we did when we apply the pound sign, all we need to do is we'll go to number, currency, and we can choose the currency we want here. So you have a lot more currencies here. So pound and decimal places, if you want 1, then you can just adjust it here. So let's go for 2. And then you can see that our price has changed. So we know that this is the total and it's in pound as well, but I don't want to go to the dialog box again. So I can just use my Format Painter and paint it on this, and that changes as well. And then these are this are your alignments. So what alignment does, it just aligns it to where you want it to be. So for instance, this column here, I want these numbers to be in the middle. All I need to do is select this column. This is my middle alignment. And then once I click that, it's in the middle. This column, it's on the right side. I want it on the left. This is my left alignment. And then I can click that. The thing with this is once you like put your cursor on it, it shows you what the function would do. So this would show you align to the right. This will show you, this would be bottom alignment. So for instance, if you have a lot of, that works when you have like a big row. So like this one is on the bottom. So I want it at the top. I can click this and it moves it to the top. So all these are, this is the middle and this is the bottom. And what this does, this changes the orientation. So I can angle this. If I angle that clockwise, that's what it would do. Counterclockwise. So sometimes you might want to present your data in this way, and it does that. And you can also open up the dialog box. And you can actually use, so this is the, so it's the same dialog box here. So we're looking at the alignment function now. And we've looked at the fonts, where you can change the fonts. We've looked at borders, so you can also pick your borders here. You can pick your field here, which are all these numbers here. And protection is when you want to like protect your spreadsheet. If you don't want anyone to edit, then you can use protection, but it's more advanced. And then merge and center. So if I want to join like one or two cells together, you can use your merge and center function. So for instance, so what it just does is it merges the cell. So these are 3 cells here. So if I select the 3 cells and click merge and center, that changes it to 1 cell. Wrap text is, if your text is, if you have a lot of text, I'm just going to undo the merge and center. And it's peeling out. So let's type it text. Going to text code. Okay. So this text is peeling out of this cell. And that's because I'm typing something else here. And this I can't see. So what you can use wrap text, and what it does is it fits the text into that cell. And then you can see everything together. So none of it is hidden by what you have typed beside it. So that's the purpose of a wrap text. And then we have the percentage here. It's part of formatting. So you want to format as a percentage. You use that. So we have dates, we have time. Dates, you can pick different formats for your dates depending on your preference. So there are so many other formatting we can do here. I wouldn't look at conditional formatting today because it's not basic. And let me see, so I don't deviate from the topic. Okay. I'm trying to see where am I. Okay. So let's make this normal again. I'm just gonna and this undo button. So if you've done something and you want to reverse it, all you need to do is click on the undo button. So if you want to undo the last thing you did, just click on undo button. Or if you want to undo a series of things you've done, you can, if you click on this arrow, you can see these are everything I've done. And what I want to do, I want to undo everything. Let's see, not everything. Let me undo it up to, so what I've done is I've actually gone back to when we had this without any formatting. So you can use the undo button for that. And if I realize that I've gone back too much, you can use your redo button, and then it will show you everything, and you can pick which one you want to redo. So let's assume I want to redo it up to that point. And then all these are just the different points on the formatting. So that's your redo button. And this is your save button. Always remember to save your document, and it's just file. So because this is already saved, I can just click this button and save it, and then this is saved. If it's a new document, then you have to like open it up and save where you want it to be saved. And then the next button here is the insert button. So you use this to insert different items. You can use this to insert a pivot table, to insert a table. You can insert clip arts, shapes. So there's different shapes that would come. So if you want to insert like an arrow, for instance, I've clicked the arrow, and all you need to do is just like draw it here. And to draw it, just click anywhere in the cell, hold your left mouse button down and drag it. And then I have this arrow here, which I picked from here. So you can literally do any of these shapes. So insert shapes. You want to put like a square. All you need to do is just hold it down, and it places the square there. And of course, you can format this square anyhow you like. There's a button here for shape fill. You can fill it with another color. You can change the outline. So let's make the outline fatter. And all this, if you notice that tax bar has disappeared, that's because I don't have this selected. So if you need to edit this, you have to have it selected, and then it comes out with this formatting tax bar, which is here, and you can use it to like, this is changing the shape. So you can actually use it to change the shape to this. So you don't have to draw it again. You can do different things with this. So it's always good to just play around with this and see what you can do. So back to insert, and then we can insert like charts. So we have the line chart, pie chart, bar chart, area chart here. We might touch that briefly if there is time. This is the page layout. So this is just looking at the page as a whole. So you want to print this page. This is where you set your margins, how you want the borders to be. You can also open up the dialog box. So this is my page. If you want to print this, you can adjust the size of it. You can, if it's a lot of document, you can fit it to like particular pages. So you can say fit to 1 page wide and like 4 pages tall, and then it will do that. Then when you print it, you have those 4 pages. And then you can set your margins, and these are the borders for your printing. You can decide to put a header and footer, for instance, if this is like a header, if you like want to like put your business name on the document. And then what the header does, it will just duplicate that header or footer on every page you print. And this is your shade. If you notice that this has grid lines, so if you want to print the grid lines, you select the grid lines. If you don't want it, then it just prints normally. And you can look at your print preview here to see what it would actually look like. So this is what this sheet will look like if we print it now. I'm going to close this. And you can adjust that. If you don't want it to look like that, then you can adjust it. So this dialog box, you can also adjust it here. So you have all the functions here, or most of the functions. You can change the size if you don't want it on A4, you want A5. So you can change that, and the print area. So for instance, the print area is used to set where you want to print. So if I only want to print this this shape, I can just select it, go to the print area and set print area. And when I go to print, if you remember how the print preview was before, now it's not going to print those that list because I've only selected this to be printed. So if you have like a big document and you just want a part of it to be printed, all you need to do is select the part you want printed and just go to print area and set print area. So I'm going to clear print area now. And then if we look, I've cleared the print area, so it's just going to default to normal. And then this is what our print will look like. I'm just gonna open it. Yeah, so topics. So we've looked at selecting ranges and selecting cells. There are different ways you can select. Okay. There are different ways you can select cells. So when you click on one, you've selected one. You want to click on you want to select a lot, you can click on the first one, hold your left mouse button down, and just go on until you get to the end of the selection that you want, and then just release it. And what it means is that you have selected this area. So anytime you want to apply formatting, or you want to do anything to any cell, you have to make sure it's selected. Another way to select is, you can select with your keyboard. So if I have, for instance, if this is a very long, document with lots of lines, I don't want to hold my mouse button down and start dragging it all the way down, because some documents can be quite long. So if you select the first one, all you need to do is use your Shift and your Control button and your down button. So click on the first one and press down your Shift, your Control button, and then your down arrow. That's because I want to select down, which is usually the fastest way to do it. If I want to select to the right, for instance, Shift, Control, to the left. That is, I've selected to the left. I want to select all this down, Shift, Control, down button, and I've selected the whole document. Another way to select is click anywhere on the data and just press your Control and your A button, and that will select everything on that sheet. So you want to select the whole sheet, you can click here. This will select the whole sheet. I want to select the whole data, Control A, and that will select the whole data. So if I want to apply formatting to this whole data, then I can select by Control A. You can select the top and do your Shift, Control, down button. If, for instance, so I've selected everything now, and for some reason it's a long document, I don't want to select part of it, but I want to unselect a bit of this. So if you remember, to select is Shift, Control, and the down button, and then I want to unselect I want to unselect like part of it. What I do is I now release the control button and then use my arrow. So let me show you. So I've selected that. Let me select down. And then I want to unselect like 5 rows under, as in at the bottom of this spreadsheet. So I just go to my, while it's still selected, go to my shift, and then I use my top arrow to just go like that. So I'm just using my keyboard to unselect this. So that is how you unselect. If you want to like select the data, you don't want to, you just want to select part of this data, you can just, I want to select that bit. I don't want to select 2 below this. I want to select another set of data. All you need to do is press your control button down and select another set. So let's select this, control button down, I'm selecting this. I just want to apply color to those ones I've selected. And that is it. So you can select different parts of the documents, at the same time and apply formatting to them all at the same time. And that's what you mean by selecting non-contiguous ranges. So selecting larger ranges is when you use your shortcuts buttons on your keyboard. Control A will select all the documents. Your Control and Shift button and your arrows will select it depending on the arrow you pick. And we're on. So editing a spreadsheet. Okay, I'll delete this. So editing a spreadsheet is as simple as just clicking anywhere on the spreadsheet and typing in it. So for instance, I don't want bread here anymore. I've changed my mind. I want something else. I want probably water. You don't have to like delete before you can put water here. You can just type water in. And that is just as simple as that. You can just type over typing. Or I want water all the way down. You can just, drag that water down. I'm just gonna undo that. And okay. And using the fill, I remember when I did this, I typed in 1 and 2. So I'm gonna show you 1, 2. And because, so I want to fill this down, let's say to 15. So because I selected 1 and 2, Excel would assume that I want to increase that number by 1 every time. So once you select it and you drag it down, then it would increase it. One other thing you can do is if it's just 1, if you want to create a set of numbers, and this is just 1, if I drag it down, Excel doesn't know that I want to create a set of numbers. It feels that, I just want 1 all the way down, but I don't want 1 all the way down. I want numbers. So what I'll do is, once you drag it down, you have this box that would appear here. If you click on the arrow, that's the autofill function. Well, I'm going to tell Excel that, I want this to be in a series. So fill series, and it will just change it to number. So a way to avoid doing that is just typing 1, 2, because you're already telling Excel you want it to increase. If on the other hand, I have 1, 2 here, and I just want to like copy that down, I don't want it to increase. If I drag this down, it will automatically increase. So I can tell Excel to just copy the cells, and what it will give me is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way down. So that is what you call the autofill function. And also you can so that's copy cell. So you can either copy the cells down, or fill the series. So if I do this is fill series, change it to copy cells. Let me change it back to fill series, okay. So if, for instance, if you format this, let's make that green and just changing the formatting. But I only want the formatting here. If you drag this down, what it does, it will copy the formatting as well as it will fill the numbers. But I don't want the formatting. I just want the numbers filled. So I can say, fill without formatting. And then the formatting is just here, and then the others are just plain. Or you can pick, if it's just a format I want to copy, this will be like the format printer. You can do fill formatting only. And on Excel, we have the A, B, C, D, these are the columns in Excel, and the numbered ones are the rows. You can insert column as well as insert rows. I'm going to delete this, okay. So for instance, so we have quantity, we have price here, we have the total here. If you want to, like, for instance, we want to put the actual brand of this item that we want to buy, and I want it to be between Tesco and the quantity. You can right click anywhere on these letters. If you right click, it comes up with a set of functions, and I can insert. So this is me inserting a column between Tesco and quantity because I want to put the brand of these items that I want to buy. Brand of milk is there. So just so this is me putting the brand. Another way to do that is you can actually, I'm going to undo this. And before I undo this, because I still need this, I can actually copy this and keep it somewhere. And the way to copy is, you can either use Ctrl+C or you can use your copy here. And because I want to keep it somewhere, I want to keep it on the clipboard. This is the clipboard. If you click this button here, it opens the clipboard on the side. So everything I've copied would be here, unless it's so large. Because I want to delete this column, but I don't want to have to retype this again. So I've copied it, I've kept it on the clipboard. And what I would do is I can now right click here and delete it. Because for some reason, I don't want that between B and C, between Tesco and quantity again. Maybe I want it between price and total. So I can right click again, insert, and then I want those items that I've typed before that are here on the clipboard there. So I'm just going to click where I want to place the items, click the items on the clipboard, and then you have the items back here. So you can always copy, and anytime I copy here, once your clipboard is open, it will go on the clipboard. So once you copy this, it goes on the clipboard. So copy, you can either use copy or you can use your keyboard Ctrl+C. So we've got the brand, we've got the total. You can format it. And then we looked at, let's look at editing formulas. Okay. So remember our formula here that we're just multiplying the amount by the price of the item. So the way formula works in Excel is the formulas are relative to the cell. So if, for instance, if I can copy formulas and place them somewhere else on the spreadsheet, And what it copies, I'm just going to close this clipboard here. So if I copy this formula, which is referencing cell C3 and cell D3, if I copy this formula, I can copy. If I place the formula A, if I paste the formula here, did you notice that the formula, it's coming up as 0? The reason why it's coming up as 0 is because it is referencing the cells 2 cells away and the third cell. So it's referencing, so it's going to look at, it's looking at these 2 cells. Just going to delete this. It's looking at these 2 cells because this cell, what you're saying is, I'm going to delete this one. So you're saying multiply the cell to your left by the cell, 2 cells to your left. And that is what you're copying. You're copying that formula. So anywhere you place that formula, it is going to be doing that. So it's just going to be looking at a cell to the left and 2 cells to the left, because that's what this formula says. And this is coming up as 0 because there's nothing to the left and there's nothing to 2 cells to the left. So if I now have another list here, for instance, I have another list here. I'm buying this time around, I'm buying 5 bottles of water at £5 each. And then I would have that figure here because you've already put the formula there to multiply cell G3 by cell H3. And that is why you can actually drag formulas down, because it would always reference those cells you've asked it to reference. Just so it's just going to be looking at what's the cell beside me, what are 2 cells beside me, and those are the 2 cells I need to multiply. If on the other hand, you want this formula just to reference particular cells. So this formula, no matter what happens, I want it to always look at D3 and C3, no matter where I place this formula. What you can do is you can freeze these formulas. So you can freeze those cells. So if you click on it, if I click on that and press F4 on my keyboard, it puts dollars, it will put a $sign before the row and the column. And the same thing with this, or you can type it manually. So you can either click on it, press F4, enter, or you can manually put your dollar there. So what this is doing is, no matter where I copy this formula to, it would only reference these 2 cells. So let's see, let's copy this now. Copy. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to paste it here. So if you notice that this was meant to be 25 because we're multiplying these 2, but now it is still referencing these cells because we have frozen those formulas to those cells. So that works if you don't want the formula to move from particular cells. You can, so this, putting a dollar before C, it's freezing the column, and putting the formula, the $sign before 3 is freezing the row. So both columns and rows are frozen. Same thing with D3. You can also just freeze the column and then let the row be relative, in which case it will be $C3 and $D3. Or you can freeze the row, in which case it would be, so I'm doing this manually, but the fastest way to do it is using your F4 button. So if you click on that formula, if you go press your F4, you see it changing. So this is, it's now C3. Press again, it's frozen both row and column. Press again, it's only frozen the row. Press again, it's only frozen the column. So you can use your F4 button to do that, or you can type it manually. So that's making your formula fixed. And also, if this formula is fixed to these two, if you notice, if I click on the formula, you can see like the cells highlighted. You can manually change this formula by dragging these cells to somewhere else, those formula. So once it's highlighted and colored, you can actually drag it. And what is happening is this is changing, it's now referencing different cells. So it's now looking at C5 and D5. So you can manually drag the cells in your formula like that to reference different cells. I'm just gonna undo that. Okay. So we've looked at undo, we've looked at formatting, utilizing, I think we looked at changing to italics, underlining, strike through. So we've looked at formatting, clock time, borders. Okay, let's see. So formatting, I think it's more formatting. So we've applied, so our formatting, under numbers, you can have your general number, no specific format. If it's a number, you can actually use your 1000 separator. So if, for instance, you have 1000, if we need to format this, if you go to number, we can put a separator, that will put a comma, and then we want 2 decimal places, and that is it. So you can do different things with the formatting. Another way to open the formatting dialog box is to right click on the cell and then format cells. So we can change this to like a percentage, for instance, and then it applies the percentage to it. We looked at putting this in borders. So we're looking at basic topic. Inserting cells into workbook. Okay. So we looked at how we could insert. So you want to insert a column between your data. All you need to do is right click where you want to insert that data and insert. On the other hand, if you want to delete, right click that cell, that column and delete. You can do the same thing for the rows as well, select. So in this case, I've selected 2 rows because I want to insert 2 rows. So right click, insert, and then I have my total down. That's because I want to add more items to my list. And you can also delete it. I have 2 men, let me delete one. So you can delete this. And this is a worksheet. So you can also have, like, if you can see my worksheet, I have different tabs here. So you can have different tabs. So this is my TESCO list. If, for instance, I want another list, I want to start another list. All I need to do is click on this here. In some workbooks, I think it has like a plus sign or something. So if I click on this, I have a brand new worksheet that I can work with. So you can continue to, so these are called tabs. You can continue to add in new tabs as you wish. So on this tab, for instance, I have sheet 1 here. I want my sheet 1 to be between these, my 2 bag shops. So if you click on sheet 1, if you click the left button, hold it down and just move it. So if you can see that I'm moving it, I want to drop it here. This is where I want it. So my sheet 1 is now. So I've moved that tab somewhere else. I can color this tab by right-clicking, tab color. Let's make the tab green. And then the tab is green. So you can have tabs with different colors depending on what you're doing. And also, if I don't want this sheet anymore, I can delete it. So this is sheet 5 that we just created. I would right click, and the same way that I can insert, I would delete. So you can also delete your sheet. Oh, grid lines, view ruler. There are some functions below the sheet here that you can use. So for instance, if you want to print this document and you want to see what it will look like, if you click on this page break preview, if it's a big document, you can actually see what the print setting will look like. This is what it's going to print. If it's a large document, you see this blue, you see the page numbers display. So you know that this document is actually going to print on different pages, and you can actually, adjust the print screen from here. So for instance, I've just adjusted this so that this does not print, the columns do not print. So, and I can take it back. All you need to do is just, once you are on it, on that line, it changes, the arrow changes, and then I can change it back. So now I have all this will print. If I send this document to print, to go back to the page we were on before, I will click on normal down here, and then I'm back to normal. If you need to change this, if you need to zoom this, there's a slider here just on the bottom that you can use to slide to actually zoom out and zoom in. So sometimes if it's too small, you can zoom out here if you don't want to increase the fonts. Or if it's too big, you can zoom in so that you can see more things on your screen at the same time. So I'll take it back to 100%. And one other feature on this bottom panel is for you can see some simple formulas there, some results of some simple formulas. So for instance, if we don't have a sum here and you want to know what the total of this would be, if you select all this down, if you look at your bar here, your bottom bar, you can see that the sum is here. So it will put a sum here. The count is here. So it's telling you you've selected 5 items and it's giving you an average. So there are other functions that can show here, but this is the default. So for more advanced users, you can actually select other functions here. So once you select anything you select, it would show you the sum, it will count it, and it will show you an average. So that's a way to actually just see before you put a formula in. So it's 131 pounds. So we've looked at printing, ordering, page layouts, margins, yeah. And printing, let's look at printing. I think we've actually looked at printing. So let's use this for printing. So to print this, if you go to your, where's the home button? I'm selecting everything. Yeah. For some reason I forgot where the print is. It's on a page layout. So if you want to print, okay. So the first thing is, let's look at our print area. I'll open up this dialog box. And then this will show us the margin. So this is adjusting to 100. The first thing, the best way to look to see how this will show when you want to print, I'm going to cancel this, is to look at this as a shortcut. And this is going to print across 3 pages. So I've got page 1, a big page 1, I've got page 2, and I've got a little page 3. I don't want it to print like this. So I want it to be more even. I can drag this to like somewhere here. So I've reduced page 1. I'm going to reduce page 2. And then I have page 3. Another way to do it is to open up your print dialog box, which is this. And I can say, fit this document, fit it to 1 page wide and 3 pages tall. And then click on the print preview. And then I have this on 3 pages. But because the 3rd page is so small, I might want to drag it. So it's gone back to how it was. I might want to drag it manually, which is fine. I might just want to drag it manually. And then to print, let's say print preview. And so I have it more, at least I have it better. So I don't have such a tiny one on page 3. So you can actually do that. Of course, you can also set your, you can say this document, I only want it on 1 page. And to only have it on 1 page, I'll go to my preview, my page setup. So I want fit this to 1 page. So you actually fit it to 1 page. It's just that it might not work because there will be too many things on that page. But if you're like printing on like more bigger paper, then it might be something you want to do. And you can also select your paper here. So I'm just going to adjust that back. I'm going to take this back to 100% of its size. And if I want to print this in landscape and not portraits, all I need to do is select landscape, and then I can print in landscape. So let's preview. I sent it to the printer. So this is the preview, and this is in landscape. And you want to put some header. You can use this to customize your header. And then if you want grid lines, it would actually come up, print out with those grid lines. Okay. Our time, I think, is almost all. But at this point, I want to take questions. So if you have any question, if you let me know. I actually don't know if there are questions. If you have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. I'll try my best to answer. So for everything we've done today, if you have any question, if anyone is not clear and you want me to explain again, let me know. Just trying to see if we have more. No, okay. Okay, so.
Sorry, is this recorded, please?
I'm not sure,
So that I can go over and over again.
It looks like it is, because I can see pause recording.
Yeah, it shows up there that it's being recorded. And it's
Oh,
very
that would
good
be
lesson,
great.
to be honest. Yeah.
It's very, because it will be very helpful to
It's
go.
very helpful,
Okay, I think it's being recorded because I can see the options there are to stop recording or pause recording. So I think it's being recorded.
Thank you very much.
yeah. It actually shows on the screen that red, which means it's being recorded.
Yes, recording. Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, yeah. I think I've
So
seen it.
basically, how do we get the recording? Is it the admin is going to post it?
I think that information will be made available probably on the forum.
Your teaching is really good. We appreciate your coming today. It's just
Thank
that
you.
one day will not be enough.
Yeah, same here. I think it's very helpful. Like I've learned a lot of things today, but we need to
Thank you. I
practice
hope
it
you
at
were
some
able to
time.
Yeah.
learn something new. I know this is quite basic for some people. So next week we'll be having a more essential level. So a level up from this next week.
Okay.
So next week we're going to be looking at creating charts and creating pivot tables
Oh, those are good
and
ones.
using more functions, more advanced functions in Excel.
Okay.
So next week, we'll be looking at, that will be when you want to do presentations with your data, how you can present your data in a nice way using charts, and how you can summarize data. That's basically using pivot tables. That's what we'll be looking at next week.
Okay, that would be great.
So it's more advanced. So this is just for people who are new to Excel. And if you just a bit of work on Excel and you want it to look nice and pretty, then this is what this has covered, mainly formatting in Excel and printing. So I think we can call it a night now, so I don't take too much of your time.
Thank you
If
very
anyone
much.
has any questions, you can ask. And aside from that, thanks for joining in tonight. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. It was really helpful. Thank you.